Welcome back, beautiful beings. It's Denise. In this video, I'm going to be playing with wallpaper. Okay, I have long rolls of wallpaper. Some are 21.5 inches, some are 22 inches, and some are just past 20 inches. Okay, I wanted to show you some inserts I've been making before I sew them for my journals. These are going to go in multiple different journals, and I got multiple different styles I made, and I wanted to show them to you before I sewed them. Then of course I'm going to show you how I made some of them, especially the bigger ones. I'm going to make 2 big ones, maybe even more. But here they are, the different styles. Okay, so if you're interested, give me a like and continue watching, and let's begin. This roll of wallpaper is 21 inches long. I measured how tall and how wide I wanted it. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I want it longer so I can have flip over pockets. Okay, beautiful beings, so if you want to start smaller, you can. Kit Kat's in my other seat, so I'm on the other side of the table. But I wanted to show you what I did here. I took this and pulled it out, and of course you're going to have stuff to set it on wallpaper so it don't curl up. After I figured out how tall and how wide I wanted the wallpaper, I took it and put it on another piece of wallpaper to glue it together. This piece is 12 inches by 20.5 inches long, and I trimmed it all up all around to make sure it was nice and straight all the way around and down, and then I just put it on another piece of wallpaper and I glued it down. As you can see, if I cut this, I'm going to put it to the bottom. You're going to have left over at the top, and you can use that to make a smaller one, right? And it's not as wide as this one. Okay, so I just took 2 pieces, I cut them out 12 inches by 20.5 inches, and I glued them together. And then I made this one. It's going to go like this, okay? So this is 12 inches, right? So it's basically 20.5 inches long and 12 inches high. I folded over so I could trim it in my cutter. I put it in my cutter and cut and made sure everything was good. Okay. Then I want these 2 pieces folded in. And I folded this over like this first. Okay. That's all I did. Just fold it over like that. And then I took these 2 pieces and put them in. And then folded them in, and then I took this and folded that in. Okay, but with this one, I think I'm going to use my puncher. I got my 3-inch puncher. I'm just going to take it and find the middle, like this, and put it in as far as you want your half circle to be. I'm going to punch that out. Then I'm going to just go in a little bit on this one because this one's a little thinner than the other one. I'll show you. See? Okay. And that's what that's going to look like. And sometimes your puncher. I did glue these together. I forgot to mention with Elena's glue, tacky glue, and it did work. I'm going to sew around mine, and I don't think it matters if you sew around or not, but see how my puncher didn't punch it very good. It punched all the other ones good. I don't know why I did punch this one good, so I'm just gonna go like that. Try to get it to look nice. That's good enough. I'm not too fussy. And then you can save these also, and you can use them for leaves or embellishments. But I just wanted to show you this. Okay, so I took this, got this length. Again, that was, I don't have enough room. I should have moved more stuff off the table. Let me see. Okay, again, this is 20.5 inches long. Okay, and it's 12 inches tall. Okay, and I just cut 2 pieces of wallpaper. This is 12 inches high And I just took 2 pieces of wallpaper, glued them together so I could have this folded over like this, trimmed all the edges, and I wanted these folded in like that. And then we just did our half circle punch, okay? And then it will close like this, right? Just so I have them for the future for journals. Now I have another piece already cut out, and I'm going to glue it to another piece of wallpaper just to show you. I have this piece. This piece, I wanted it longer than this one. Okay, so it's way longer. Alright, and I haven't glued anything on top of this and cut a piece out yet. So I have this piece. And as you can see, this piece is quite longer than that piece. I'll tell you the measurements. Here's my yardstick. This piece, I'm just telling you the measurements just in case you want to do them. Beautiful things. I had to move more stuff to make more room. Right, this piece is very long, but let me give you the width of it first. This piece is 12 inches. Okay, this is 12 inches in height, just like the other one. If you're using basic 12 by 12 cardstock, 12 inches, 31 inches. Just in case you want to know that, okay? That's so I could fold these in like this, okay? And these two, I folded down because I ripped them when I was trying to cut it, okay? So I just folded them in like this and found the middle and folded it over. And now I'm going to glue it to another piece of wallpaper so it's a little bit thicker. And I love the feel of it when it's 2 are glued together. Right? So you're going to need jars. See how I set that jar there to hold it? Alright, so I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to give extra. And I'm going to cut across. Of course, the camera holder's in my way. And I'm just going to cut it along so we can glue these 2 pieces together. Alright, so with the other piece you cut off, you can make notebooks, you can use it for the die cuts, whatever you want. But here, I'm going to glue this with Elaine's glue, because it worked. It takes a while to dry with the wallpaper, but it does work. Or you can use some other glue that you might think will work better. But what I'm going to do is put this right in the middle of this. I'm going to try to put the 2 that have the nice straight edge together like this. Right, and I want to make sure the edges are in good, which it's not. But this is the only one I'm going to show you I cut. Okay, because it just takes too much time, and you're brilliant, so I think you're getting it. I'm going to put a jar here to hold that. Then I'm going to make sure that's moved down a little bit. But I do want it against the top edge. I'll show you after I get it all together. Okay. So I line that up with the top edge. But I want to make sure it's all good. I gotta move this piece down more. And then, yeah, that's good. Make sure it all lines up. It does. Alright. So see how I have a little white? I can just trim that off. I have a little white over here just because you want it to make sure you got enough. Okay, and then I have some white around here. Okay, just take my glue, and on the edges, I'm gonna put it on the edges really good, like that, and then I'm just gonna snare it. Okay, to get it started, push down, and then that's all I'm going to do. And on this one, I'm just going to do this edge, and then I'm going to flip it around and do the other side. Okay, that's all I'm going to do, all the way down. So if you're not sewing them like I am, I'd put more glue, especially on the edges. That way, when you cut it, the edges don't come apart. And I'm going to take this and turn it. and then put those where I had my glue, and then raise this up like this, and then just add glue. It's real simple, okay? I figure you know how to do this, but I just wanted to show you how I'm doing it, and you can use whatever glue you have, and it doesn't have to be completely covered with glue. Just enough for it to get tacky and stick, okay? Especially if you're sewing. If you're not sewing, you might want to put more, especially on the edges, but you really don't need that much. But I am going to take this and put it along the edge down. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I wanted to show you one, at least that I was gluing together. Okay? Then I'll show you another one that is way easier where you don't have to cut. Okay? Okay? It's all smooth, okay? And here I'm showing if you don't have a cutter, you just wait for it to dry. I did not. But just take your scissors and cut the excess off after you have the other piece nice and straight how you want it. Okay, beautiful beings? But it's much easier if you have a cutter. You just throw it in the cutter after the glue dries and you cut off the white parts. I can't really see that great, but you get the idea. Is that even gluing down? No. So we need to add some glue there. And again, that's ripped, but I'm just flipping it over. Okay. So we're going to add some glue here. Just keep adding glue wherever you cut it and it's not glued. Okay. So I'm going to basically let this dry. See, like there. Just keep adding glue. Just keep adding glue wherever you need it. Right? This isn't rocket science, beautiful beings. Just keep adding your glue. Okay, and then trim it up. Okay, beautiful beings. Here it is. The glue is drying nicely. Okay, this one on this side, I'm going to sew this down like that. So I'll fold this nice and even here and here. And then I'm just going to flip it so you can see. This side, I'm going to take and put this down like this. Okay, and make sure this one is straight. Okay, beautiful beings. Before I do that, I don't know which color would go nice with this purple, if they even go with it, but I got Archive Ink Majestic Violet, and I got Destruct Oxide Wilted Violet. I want to try this one first. Just want to see. I'm just going to ink up the sides. For some reason, it just gave me like a purplish vibe, but it's not purple, so I went and got the mahogany. I think it looked better with the mahogany. But as you can see, it took me a while to figure that out with the purple. Okay, beautiful things. I got aged mahogany. I want to try this. I want to see if it blends in better. I think it might. I don't know. Maybe I should just use this. But that does blend in better, I think. Yeah, it does. So I'm just going to do this real quick. Aged mahogany goes better. And of course, if you don't want to ink it up, you don't have to. I just chose to ink some up, and then some I didn't ink up. Whatever way you want to do it, beautiful beings. It's your craft. Create the way you want it. This is going to go like this. I don't even know why I did the inside. I don't know what I was thinking, beautiful beings. But we want it on this side. And this side. Here and here. Now I'm going to go sew this. Okay? I'm going to sew along here, and then I'm going to sew this all the way around. Okay? Beautiful beings, just to be clear, see, I didn't sew it together yet. Sew it here, I just wanted to show you that. And I'm not gluing this part down. Okay. I just sewed along here and here on both sides. Okay. And you don't need to glue that down because it's going to be flipped in and it'll be facing down and it won't catch. Okay. So it's going to look like that. Now I'm going to go sew the bottom and I'm going to sew the top. Okay. Okay, beautiful beings. There's a stitch. Then on the bottom. And there's a stitch I did on the top. They're almost the same, but not quite. Then a stitch I did on the inside. Close up. Okay, and you can, these don't even have to be journals, because look, you can store stuff in here, and you can put a pocket here, like across here. You can put a diagonal one here, or you can put it the other way if you want, beautiful beings, and use it for a folder to store stuff in, storage, whatever. But I'm going to use mine for a journal. I think this would make a nice journal cover. Plus you can glue other stuff on top and put other stuff on here. Embellishments, big ones, sayings, whatever you want. And this feels really nice. It feels almost like leather. So there's that one. Okay, beautiful beings. Now we're going to do one. I'm going to give you the measurements. I'm just going to flip it over. This one is 21.5 on the height. And it's 24 inches long. And all we're going to do is fold it over. So I got the height, this is the width, 24, folding it over like this, okay? And I already trimmed the edges, so you don't have to see me do that again. And then you just line it up like this. Okay, so it's nice and even. Make sure I got it where I want it. Then crease it. And then what I did was crease it again, like this, before I cut it. Okay, just lined it up, creased it, and then I put it in my cutter and made sure that was, you're going to have one side that's straight, so put the part that's not straight, I think it was this side, in your cutter, and then just cut it all together. Okay, this is our little folder, and the camera moved. How'd the camera move? They're having all kinds of mishaps here. Alright, so that's nice and even. Then this one, I want to do different. I want to like fold it here. That, maybe. I want it a little different. And I don't know if I want that flower on the other side. What do we got on this side? Nah, I'll just leave it in the middle right there. You can fold this in. Again, you can bend this down if you want. I got my crease right there. I don't know if you can see that. It's right here. Fold it in like this. And then fold it over. Again, if you want. And then have this one wrap around it, which I think I'm going to do with this one, just so it's different. And then I'll measure it again so you can see what the actual measurements actually are. And I'm going to line it up with the top, and then I'm going to crease it. Okay. So we'll see what size this one is. Sorry, my camera's all wonky. Again, I'm on the other side. So this journal, I'll probably make this a journal cover, is not quite 7.5. It's right there. I'm not good at measuring. Do I have one of them marked? I don't. I tried to mark them before, but it's about there. It doesn't matter. You can figure it out. Okay. And I will measure this for you. I folded that in to about just past 3 lines past 4.5. Okay, so that's how big that is. Okay, just eyeball it, beautiful things. That's all I did. But I think I'm going to have that there. And I might have to trim this after I glue it, of course. And then that's going to flip over like that. And this is going to flip over like this. But, you know what I could do? I can make this a left-hand journal. After I figure out if we want to. I can have this a pocket. I can just glue this up here. So let's do that. And then I can have a punch out here. I'll show you. So I'm just going to take some Elena's glue. And I'm going to stick the lines right here. So I'm going to go in where the line is. And I'm just going to put a little Elena's here. Okay. Because this is going to be the open pocket right here. Okay. So I'm going to glue that up there. So it's nice and even. And it follows all of the lines. And it moved on me. Napkin. I have a wet one just because I'm on the table. So it's going to be glued there. Make sure it stays where I got it. I'm going to hold it. It's moving. See how the white's showing? So I'm going to hold that down and push this down like that. Okay? And just so I remember that's a pocket, I want to use my other puncher. Okay, beautiful beings. I'm going to turn it just so I know it lines up. And just to have something different, I'm going to use this puncher right here. Okay? I want to see what it looks like. I'm going to try to go in the middle. It doesn't really matter. Make sure this is all down good. I want to make sure that's lined up. The glue. And you probably should wait until your glue dries, beautiful beings. You should probably wait until it's glued. And if it's not in the middle, it's fine. I'm just going to use this. And we'll just have that there. Okay, so we know it's a pocket. Now, we got to figure out where I want the other pocket. And I really probably should wait for it to glue because it keeps coming off the white. Where the white's showing. No matter what I do, there we go. Fold this in. See, and now look like that. And then that's going to wrap around that like that. And see how much room I have. I might want to tuck that in more here. Just a little more so it's not a problem when we put that flap. So I'm just going to, here's, gives you an idea how much space is there. There's the bend, and that's where I got that folded. And that's not straight on the bottom. As you can see, it's sticking up here. So I'm going to redo this over here. I'm going to bring it in more, so I'm going to do it this way. Make sure that lines up. Bring that in. Make sure the bottom's going down all the way before I fold it again. Make sure that, yep, it has plenty of room. I'm going to crease it again. There. Okay. And that's how much room you got between those two. And I think I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to glue this one up here right before the line. Like this. That was probably way too much glue. I just want a little bit so it dries faster, beautiful things. Because Elena's will dry fast if you don't use a lot of glue. But if you're not sewing, you might want to use a lot of glue. If that makes sense. Right. So I got that there. I'm just trying to make sure the white's not showing and you can see. So I'm pushing that over a little bit. And I think I'm going to let it sit because the more I move it, the more the white comes back. Right, yeah. So I'm going to push it up and over. Flatten that again. There. Let's see. This one's gluing nicely. The white's showing a little bit. We can just ink it up. You don't have to ink it up. I just like to ink it up. So yeah, I'm gonna let that sit. How does it fit after we fold it? See, it looks better after we fold it. Yeah, we could even put that down if we wanted to, like that, and make it a pocket like that if you wanted to. Just to have a bunch of different looks. Should I? I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that. So we're just going to glue this. We're just going to put some glue in here. And you'll see why I'm not gluing the whole thing. Because right now I'm just trying to figure out my pockets. So I'm going to put some glue in here. Like this. Just enough to glue it down. Make sure I get the edges. And then we'll do the little tuck in on this so we have a variety on this one. I might let that sit. But I want a pocket here somewhere. So I gotta figure that out too. Like we could have a pocket up here if we wanted to. So I'm gonna fold this like that. Okay. Make sure it's nice and even. Always go by the bottom. That's what I do. And then we're gonna fold that in. Like that. So we have two different looks. And I'm just within where the line is, okay? Fold that over like that so that will look like that. Okay? And then this will bend over like this. And that will come over like this. Okay? Just so we have a different look. And I think I'm going to do the corners on this one. So I got my puncher. I'm going to use the biggest one right here, R10. And I'm just going to punch corners. Turn it this way so you can see. I'm going to punch this corner with my R10. Should I use the same one? This. There. I think that'll make, yeah, I like that. That'll look better. I gotta line it up again. There we go. Make sure everything is lined up nicely. This one seems to be catching. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut some of that off because it's catching on the bend and now it's not. Okay, so I just cut a little bit off. Hope I'm not confusing you. So I like that. Up here, I don't know. We could have pockets in the back if I sew this down. But, you know what I want to do? I want to put that right on the line. So I'm going to find the line. See the bend? Right here. Well, let's do this. Make sure this is all good. And then we'll crease it again. Right. What I do is I line up the bottom. Make sure the bottom is nice and aligned. Might have to move that over a little bit. Put the crease in again. Right. Then I'm going to take this and right where that bend is on this one, I'm going to put that right, line it right up in there. And then I'm going to hit it. Okay, so that looks like that. And it's going to look like this when it's closed. And you might have to keep doing that because this kind of doesn't look straight. I don't know. But I want it lined up on the bottom. Then I might have to push this over a little bit. because it just doesn't look right. There, now it looks right. Just keep playing with it. And then I'm gonna probably sew here. That way we have a pocket up here, but I probably should do that up here too. So let's put one of these in the middle. So there's no glue for this one. And we could put it wherever we want. Maybe I'll put it right here. No, let's put it right there. And then this one we'll put in the middle. Alright, so I'm going to sew here. After the glue dries, I gotta wait for the glue to dry, of course, because it'll mess up my needle. More light. I don't know what's going on with that shadow. Okay, so this is what we got. Okay, this one's folded over. Bend over. I'm gonna sew here. Bend over, and then this is gonna bend over here, and then we'll have a pocket here and a pocket here on the top. Okay, so I'm going to sew this here, and I'm going to try to sew more on the left side of the line down. I'll try to do a straight stitch here, and then I'll sew around it here if I can. I don't know if I want to get that fancy. That's what it's going to look like. Beautiful things. So I'm going to let that dry. And once that dries, is there glue on there? Oh yeah, and a wet paper towel works best when you're working with this. Wipes the glue right off. Forgot to mention that. This is like not looking, I don't know. It kind of does. I just think it's not straight up here. That's why I keep playing with this. I think that's straight. But I think after I sew it, it'll look a lot better. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry, and I'll probably sew along this and this also. Okay? Okay, beautiful beings. I'm going to start with the one I just finished that I showed you. I sewed here and here. Okay? And then I flipped it over, and then it sewed it down here. Okay? And here's a stitch. There's so many ways you can make these. And I just love that about it, because I have, as you can see, I have a lot of rolls. And there's a lot on most of them. My daughter Kara gave these to me when her and Eric moved into their new home. They didn't want the wallpaper, so I gladly took it. And then I sewed down here, and I sewed down here. And I used the same stitch over here. And then I sewed across there where we glued it. So you have a nice pocket here. And you have a pocket up here. And you have a pocket here. And you have a pocket here. You got lots of pockets. And you can fold this in and have it like that. Or you can put it like that. Whatever you want to do. Okay, so there's that one. Again, here's the big one we made. Okay. And then this one that I did on camera, I just stitched on the top. First I sewed this, okay, and I sewed this here, 2 pockets, and then I sewed across the bottom and the top. Okay, I think they turned out beautiful. I love them. Okay, and I got a happy little mess that went there. My sewing machine decided it didn't want to cooperate with me. But I think it turned out beautiful. And seeing this, where I sewed here first before I sewed them down. This one I did not. Okay. These are the ones I showed you in the front, and I did not here, so you have 2 different looks. Okay, did I do one in this? Yes, I did. So let's compare the ones that are the same first, and then I'll show you the other ones. So you can have this look, which I prefer better. You can have it sewed or unsewed. Okay, and again, I could have sewed here, and I could have sewed here, but I did not. And I just did a stitch to separate the pockets, okay? So we got a pocket here, pocket here, pocket here. This one's got 3. And you can do it that way or close it this way, whatever you want to do. But this one, I got to do left-hand ones because I forgot about the top. So if I have one that's thinner, like this side going in, I'll make the left side thinner so it opens, so I could tuck that around and it comes in here, if that makes sense to you. If you're following me, and you can, if you have a sewing machine, practice all your different stitches and just play with them and see what you come up with. That's what I did. And it's always fun experimenting with different stitches. That's the difference, okay? But I do like this. I do like the look of sewing around that part before you glue the top and bottom together, or in this case, just the bottom and the top up here, okay? And I have this one. I did on camera. Okay, and this can go this way, and this can go that way. And again, this one was supposed to be a left-hand journal, but I kept forgetting the top and putting the shorter part on the right instead of the left. But here's this one. There's a pocket here, and there's a pocket here, and there's a pocket here. Okay, and if you want, you can sew this down and have another look where you have a pocket here, and a pocket here, and I'll probably make one now because I don't have that one. There's so many endless possibilities with these. Here's the stitch I did, and then the stitch over here, and this, and I stitched this before I sewed this part, and I stitched this piece before I sewed this part. Okay. But yeah, the possibilities are just endless with these, and I'm so appreciated that they gave these to me and didn't just throw them in the garbage. That they thought of me. They just did a stitch down here, a stitch down here, a stitch down here. That's what it looks like in the front, and then I put one over here, and I put one over here instead of in the middle, and I like that look. So there's just 2 pockets that you can put into any journal. And you can make them smaller, of course, whatever size you want. Okay. And the last one, this one was simple. And again, you can put it like this, or like this. And this is the one that inked up. Okay. And this is what it looks like sewed up. Again, I separated the pockets with a stitch. And this is where we glued. I sewed that. I glued here, and I sewed that for the top. And 3 pockets here, here, and here. Endless possibilities, beautiful beings. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you got any other ideas, put it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful everything.